Alright, so our directions here say solve each equation below. Number 1, we have y over 8 is equal to 16. So whenever we have a fraction like this, the first thing we want to do is we want to get rid of the fraction. So we can think of this as y divided by 8. So what is the opposite of dividing by 8? Multiplying by 8. So we're going to start by multiplying by 8 on both sides of the equal sign. Because remember, whatever you do to one side of an equation, you have to do to the other. On the left-hand side, these 8s are going to make a giant 1, so they're going to cancel out. And we're going to get y equals, and now we have to do 8 times 16. So again, that's something that you can use your calculator for, or the Desmos calculator. So on my calculator here, I'm going to do 8 times 16. Oops, I don't need that negative sign. 8 times 16. And I get 128. And now we are done. We have solved the equation. We got our variable on one side of the equation by itself. So y is equal to 128. All right, let's go over here to number 4. We have p minus the quantity negative 32 equals negative 10. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this negative and we're going to distribute it through the parentheses. Remember, that's like a negative 1 outside of your parentheses there. So we have p, a negative times a negative is a positive. So negative 1 times negative 32 is going to turn into positive 32 equals negative 10. So p plus 32 equals negative 10. Now we want to get p by itself. So we have to take this plus 32 and move it to the other side. The opposite of adding, the inverse of adding, is subtracting. So we're going to subtract 32 from both sides of the equal sign. When we do that, these 32's cancel out, and we get p is equal to, and then again, this is something that we can use our calculator for. So negative 10 minus 32 is negative 42. So p equals negative 42. And that is our final answer, because we have isolated our variable and we got p on one side of the equal sign by itself. Number 3, the opposite of n is equal to 57. This right here, that's like saying negative 1n equals 57. So it sometimes helps to rewrite it like this. The opposite of n, that's like negative 1n equals 57. Now we have negative 1 times n, but we want n on one side of this equal sign by itself. So what is the opposite of multiplying by negative 1? Dividing by negative 1. So we're going to divide by negative 1 on both sides of the equal sign. When we do that, these negative 1's go away. They make a giant 1, so we get 1n equals negative 57. Which again, we can just write as n equals negative 57. Either one is correct. And finally, number 5, 2/3 m equals 18. So, first, we want to get rid of the fraction. So, this is like 2 divided by 3, m equals 18. So to get rid of a fraction, you multiply both sides of the equation by the denominator. So remember, the denominator is the bottom number in your fraction. So here our denominator is 3. So we're going to start by multiplying both sides of the equation by 3. So we have 3 times 2/3 m is equal to 3 times 18. On the left, you have a 3 on the top and a 3 on the bottom. They make a giant 1. So we're just left with 2m equals whatever 3 times 18 is. Again, use your calculator. 3 times 18 is 54. So 2m equals 54. But we want to know what just 1m is. So again, this is 2 times m. The inverse of multiplying is dividing. So we're going to divide both sides by 2. Here our 2's make a giant 1, so we get m equals, and then 54 divided by 2, again, you can just use your calculator there and get 27. Oops, I'm off the screen. So m is equal to 27.